Hey, what's up, mortals? It's Keishan VA here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 5 of What If Deku Was Taskmaster. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin. Izuku and Tokiyami were whispering while making their way through the building. Bakugo heard them and launched a surprise explosion. However, the attack had little effect on Izuku as he threw his shield at the boy. Bakugo barely dodged it, but a punch came through the smoke of his initial attack and sent him flying. So Bakugo, where's your teammate? Falling out already? Izuku taunted. Shut up! Like I need Four Eyes' help to put down you two losers! He said, picking himself up and preparing another attack. Is that so? That punch I just landed seemed pretty effective. Bakugo lunged in for a right hook which Izuku anticipated, sidestepping the attack and countering by landing a high kick to the face, a kick to the stomach, and switching to his other foot to connect another kick to the face in quick succession. If you don't want me getting cocky, then don't make this so easy. Bakugo recovered and returned on the offensive, throwing several explosions at Izuku. But again, he read Bakugo like an open book and dodged the attacks, this time keeping his distance as he sneakily picked something from his utility belt. Once he found the right opportunity, he caught Bakugo's arm, pulled him in and flipped him over his shoulder and onto the floor while slipping a gadget onto his body. The device electrocuted Bakugo, stunning him for a moment. He plucked Izuku's gadget off of him, picked himself up, and prepared to attack again, only to see Izuku's shield flying towards him. The shield ricocheted off of Bakugo's face and flew back to Izuku as he caught it, spun, and bashed it into Bakugo's face yet again. The double combo proved effective as the blonde fell unconscious with a bloodied nose. Ooh, I may have hit him a little too hard, Izuku said, concerned, standing over Bakugo's body. Tokiyami walked up to him and examined Bakugo's nose. A little. Izuku tied Bakugo's arms as Tokiyami secured his legs. All right, let's get going and win this before he wakes up. Tokiyami nodded, and the two continued to make their way through the building. Finally, they made it to the 5th floor and heard a maniacal laugh. The two carefully crept closer to the room with the bomb, doing their best not to draw Ida's attention. Izuku gave a hand signal to check if Tokiyami was ready. He reciprocated, moved back, and crouched. Izuku peeked past the wall he was hiding behind, drew his bow, and fired an arrow at a pillar next to Ida before hiding himself again. Ida turned and laughed once more. Ha ha ha! Pathetic hero! You've squandered your chance for a surprise attack! Oh, I wouldn't say that, Izuku said, smirking behind his mask whilst a blinding light suddenly emerged from the arrow he had just fired. Ida cried out as he tried to recover his eyesight. Izuku took advantage of his confusion and fired an arrow that let out a rope securing his leg. Tokiyami, finish him! Tokiyami came out from his hiding spot, called out Dark Shadow, and commanded the Beast of Dark Energy to pick Ida off the ground and repeatedly slam him against the ceiling and floor until he was knocked out. With members of the villain team down and out, Izuku walked over to the bomb before asking Tokiyami and Dark Shadow to join him as the three laid their hands on it, securing their victory. Hero Team wins in a stunning fashion! All Might shouted over the microphone, announcing their victory. Bakugo was taking the recovery girl to heal his nose as Izuku, Tokiyami, and Ida made their way to the monitor room. Izuku and Tokiyami were further congratulated on their win, and Izuku was declared to be the VIP of the fight. Though he lost, Ida was quite pleased because All Might singled him out and commended him for getting fully immersed in his role as a villain. The other 2 versus 2 battles took place, and once they were done, the students went to the locker rooms to change their uniforms and go to class. However, not all the students made their way back. After a visit to Recovery Girl, Bakugo made his way straight home. He wasn't in the mood to look at Izuku's stupid face, at least that's what he said. In Class A, the other students gathered around Izuku and Todoroki for their exceptional performances in the exercise. All the attention made Izuku pretty uncomfortable since he's used to classmates completely ignoring him. He snuck out to meet with Hatsume, and they waited outside for Uraraka before the 3 went home together. This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN allows you to change your IP address, making it harder to track, and it secures your privacy. In addition to providing safe passage through the web, you can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services like Disney+. If you are from the United States, you won't be able to watch any of the MCU or Sony Spider-Man movies. But by switching your location to Japan, you can access them whenever you want. Check out the link in the description to get 3 months free when you purchase the 12-month subscription plan that costs $99.99 a year. This deal is for a limited time, and thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. The next school day came, and the Class A students were bombarded by reporters questioning them about the number one hero. How is it learning under All Might? What suit does he wear? What does he teach you? Is he the worst teacher ever? Is he the greatest teacher just like he's the best hero? A reporter asked. Izuku was somewhat overwhelmed by the questions and unsure of how to answer them, so he simply stood there making confused noises. Luckily, May had his back.
Make way! Moving through! We've got classes to get to!
She said as she helped push Izuku through the crowd.
Thanks for that. Sheesh. If I'd known that being at UA meant dealing with that, I might have considered going to Shiketsu instead.
May giggled as she teased Izuku.
You know heroes have to deal with reporters all the time, right? So what? You're just gonna freeze up all the time?
I'll just avoid them. A hero's job is to save people. TV appearances are just an unnecessary headache. May placed her arm around his shoulder and pulled him in closer.
Come on, Izuku. You gotta learn to market yourself. Fall in love with the camera, and it'll love you back.
You say that like you have some experience.
True, I don't. But I know I'd be awesome in front of cameras. Don't you think?
She said with her eyes sparkling in excitement.
Just imagine all the top support companies watching as I showcase all my adorable little babies.
Sure. I can picture. Just make sure to end your show before something explodes, okay?
Hey! That's me.
The two laughed before parting ways and heading to their respective classes. All right, today we have some important business to attend to. The class felt shivers run down their spines before their nerves were calmed by what Aizawa said next. You have to choose a class representative. I'll be sleeping in the corner, so do whatever you want. You have till lunch. The class became chaotic, with many making their case for why they should be the rep, but Ida pointed out that this was inefficient and suggested that a voting system would be better. By the end of the voting, Momo and Izuku were chosen with a tie of 3 votes each. Izuku was surprised and disappointed by the result, not desiring to be the class rep. He believed he wouldn't fit the position and decided to step down and let Momo lead the class. Her first decision was to try and make Todoroki her vice rep, but he didn't want the position either, so she eventually settled on Ida. He felt pretty bad about only being her second choice and having no one vote for him to be class rep, but he pushed that aside and accepted the position with his usual enthusiasm, promising to do his best for his teammates. At lunch, Ochiko, Izuku, Tokiyami, and Hatsume sat together, and the two that voted for Izuku to be class rep questioned why he declined the role. It's just not my thing.
But you seem to be good at planning and leading.
Yeah, your quick thinking helped us win yesterday. You want a battle strategy? Then sure, I'm your guy. But making decisions as class rep is different from planning for a fight. Their conversation was cut off by an alarm that went off. Some of the third years alerted the first and second years that it meant there was a breach in the UA defense system and told them to make their way to an exit. Chaos ensued as students clogged the halls, shoving and pushing one another until a voice broke through the pandemonium. It was Ida standing on the doorframe in front of the crowd. Everyone, false alarm! It's just the press! Please, continue yourselves! We're UA students, so let us act like it! The students looked through the windows, realized that he was telling the truth, and moved out of the halls. The rest of the day went by without any issue, and the next day came. The class was to have a special rescue training class at the USJ, and the students were permitted to wear their hero costumes. The students headed to the bus, and their trip to the USJ began. On the way, the students started discussing their recent hero classes and speculated on who they believed to be the strongest in class. Most people were on Todoroki's side because he instantly incapacitated his opponents. However, some wanted to give Izuku more credit for how easily he defeated Bakugo without a quirk that significantly enhanced his strength and speed. They tried to question him on how he got so strong, but he was a little preoccupied. Tokiyami had just mentioned to him that he also had a sword. It was a decorative one that he got for one of his birthdays. Their friendly conversation quickly divulged into a heated argument as they discussed whether or not the katana was overrated. Neither one really knew how they arrived at the topic, but they were very invested. Once the class arrived at the USJ, they left the bus and met the pro Hero 13, who went into a brief speech on why heroes should be careful with their use of powers. The students' attention was drawn away from their teacher as a purple mist appeared out of nowhere. 13, get everyone back to the bus! Aizawa shouted as he equipped his goggles and ran at the intruders. Izuku and a few others tried to run after their teacher, but 13 stopped them and told everyone to run back to the entrance. The students turned, but the mist from before obstructed their path as a voice came out.
Well, it seems the number one hero isn't very punctual. Might as well make the most of this.
Bakugo and Kirishima charged at the mist, but were engulfed in it, and they vanished. The same fate befell a large portion of the class, with some being able to evade the villain. After a few moments, Izuku fell from the air and onto the ground in an alleyway. He picked himself up and tried to assess the situation.
Why is it so dark here? Why is it so windy? Am I still at the USJ? Is everyone else okay? Are they here too or somewhere else? Is this a trap?
He made his way forward, turning the corner and seeing a large man. The man showed a sinister smile and charged at the boy. Izuku was shocked by the sneak attack, but composed himself and threw his shield at the man.
Okay, once he dodges,
His thought was cut off by the shield slamming into the man's face and bouncing back to him.
Okay, that was suspiciously easy,
he said to himself as 5 more men came looking for the man he had just knocked down. They attempted to gang up on him, only for Izuku to instantly incapacitate them with little difficulty.
You've got to be kidding me,
he said while kneeling to examine the villains' bodies.
These guys are pathetic. Did they really think they could attack UA when there are pros around? Wait, what did that guy mean by the number one hero isn't punctual? Were they here for All Might?
He stands as a feeling of dread begins to form in his stomach.
I guess it makes sense him becoming a teacher is public knowledge. But why would any villains, especially those as weak as these guys, even think of breaking in? Unless they've got some sort of plan. But what? What plan could possibly work on All Might?
His mind continued to race with theories on the villains' motives as another thug attempted to sneak attack him. Izuku dodged by leaping over the man. He then used his capture tape to grab him, using an identical move to the one he saw Eraser use earlier, and kicked him on the side of the head to knock him out.
Something's really wrong here, and I've got to get to the bottom of it quickly.
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our patrons. BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Meals, Adam Zagil, Zill, ZaveBeat03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I'd also like to thank all of our YouTube members: Toy Acosta, Rob the King, Sith Lord 906, CF2364, and Knuckles, Rimuru Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Brian Greer, and Demonized Fox. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials have got you covered. We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation for you to join the team. The only caveat is that we accept members 16+. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it for today's video. I'm Kishin VA. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.